Hi everyone, it's me Darlene. I am here to chat with you for just a little bit, fill you in on a few things, and then I'm going to go visit Joe in the hospital. Before I talk about Joe, I want to mention a couple of things that are going on. Derek, my son, Derek Michaud, he has a podcast, the Rhythm Section Podcast, and they are celebrating their 100th episode this coming weekend. Right now, it is June 3, 2025. It is going to be on June 7, that's a Saturday, 3 to 5 p.m. at, let me make sure I get this right, I haven't been there yet, Rooster's Blues House on Highlands in Memphis. Again, Saturday, June 7, 3 to 5 p.m. And, of course, Derek will be there, Jeff will be there, I will be there, hopefully Joe will be there. And it's going to just be fun. It's going to be a lot of people there. It's like a meet and greet. And then we listen to the podcast. They're going to be interviewing people, musicians, live there in the venue. The other thing I want to mention is Derek's beautiful girlfriend, LaShawn. She and her friend, Melanie, they're the singers. The two of them sing for Elevation Memphis. Both very talented, beautiful. Love them both. But LaShawn's got me wrapped around her finger because she also crochets. They have a website called Groovy Babes Thrift Store. If you go to that, I'll have the link in the description to the website, and I will also put the link to the event that Derek's podcast is having. If you go to their site, you'll see the owners. You click on that, and you're going to see LaShawn and Melanie. And LaShawn has made what I think are the wildest hats. They're curly hats. I don't know if that's what she calls them. Let me look. She calls them ruffle, crochet ruffle hat. It says available in any color, so I think she will do the color of your choice. I'm not 100% sure, but one of the thumbnails shows all the different colors, so I guess you pick a color and she'll crochet it for you. Just go check them out. Pretty please, I would appreciate it. And now let me plug my own stuff, because I hadn't even thought about that until just this moment. eBay. Go check out my eBay. Especially look at my scrap packs if you like to do any kind of sewing, quilting, whatever. I have a lot of different ones listed right now. I have more on the way. And just check out the other things. Always look at my auctions. And I'll have the links to that in my description box also. Okay, now Joe. Joe hadn't been feeling well for about 3 days, and it was hard to regulate his sugar. It was always wanting to go to the high side. And before anybody tries to find ways to tell me about the pump or whatever, he has done that in the past. It didn't really work. He had an appointment with a diabetes doctor. I can't even remember what it's called at this point. Couldn't see them because it was just the waiting period was going to be so long. That was, I don't know, a month ago or so, and he immediately rescheduled for the next time, and it was September. We were probably there in, I think, April, end of April. And now he's got to wait till September. But he isn't like really thrilled about the idea of the pump or whatever other things, because he is a brittle diabetic and it bounces all over the place. And so he said it didn't really work. I think he said he tried it for like 3 years and he gave up. But, we will still look into that if needed. However, so his sugar was, just kept climbing. We'd get it down a little bit. But yesterday, his sugar was in the high 500s, and the insulin just wasn't working. It wasn't bringing it down. In fact, it went up. Now, his meter only reads to 600. Over that, it says high. Well, I think it reads to 599. Anything that says high means it's in the 600s or higher. And so, and he had been complaining of stomach pains, and now I know that's one of the symptoms. And so he probably should have gone to the hospital when we couldn't stabilize it or get it down for any length of time. Now I know. So he should have gone to the hospital before, especially if he has the stomach pains. So he went to the hospital. He was DKA. I don't know if how we're supposed to say that, if he was in DKA or he was DKA, but DKA is diabetic ketoacidosis. I think that's how it's all pronounced. And it's very dangerous if it's not, if you don't get medical attention. It can be very dangerous. It can be deadly, or it can cause him to go into a coma, have a stroke, heart attack, all that stuff. So he was put in the ICU, and I just talked to him, and I talked to his nurse. Now his nurse told me, I don't know, about 2 hours ago that he was out of DKA, so that was good, but she didn't know if he would be coming home. She didn't know if he would be staying in ICU. She said they may move him to a room since it's down enough. But now Joe just called and said it's back up, so he doesn't think that he'll be coming home or leaving the ICU. And it's just too bad that we can't get this all working the way it should. So I will be going to visit him, and I can tell he's very sad, and he's also, but this is a good thing, but he's very stressed out, of course, about his health. He's stressed that he can't work. I mean, he would be working full-time on the roofs if he could, but he just can't do that. He can pick up some little odd jobs now and then, but he's not even reliable for that. In the almost 2 years that I've known him, I've seen him decline quite a bit. And he's been trying to get disability since shortly after he met me, and we have not been having any luck with that. Someone even told me, one of my patrons, to contact the House or Senate, or two different things, and I did both. They both replied, and they said, you have to choose one of us. We can't both be working on it. So I chose the one that was right here in Hernando, and they were helpful, and they get on Disability's case to say, look, you have to at least let them know something, where it's going on. That jump-started it for a tiny little bit, but then nothing. And it's supposed to be that you get some kind of results. Well, I came to find out today that his caseworker left or whatever, and that was quite a while ago, and they only now got somebody else to handle his case. And I was in the shower rinsing out my black hair dye, and the phone rang, and I thought it was Joe, and I was like, I'll just call him as soon as I get out. So I came to check my phone, and I saw that it was Social Security disability. Now, we haven't heard anything for at least maybe 3 months. I was like, oh my God, I missed their call, and I didn't know if I would be, and I was surprised because I have his caseworker as a contact, but I didn't see her name, so I thought, I wonder if this is a scam thing. Anyway, so I was worried that it might be a scam thing and that I wouldn't even get the phone on, anybody to answer. But I called it, and a woman answered, and I was so happy. I said, I just told her, somebody called from this number from disability. She goes, yes, that's me. She says, I wanted to talk to Joseph. And I was like, you have permission to talk to me. Look at the records. And she goes, I do. So I talked to her, and by coincidence, Joe's in the hospital. So that's kind of good for his case. And I explained to her, and he's been DKA maybe like 6 weeks ago or 2 months ago. He went to the hospital, DKA, and then another ambulance call, but he didn't go to the hospital. They checked all his vitals, and since it was low blood sugar that night, and it was starting to go up a little bit, but I couldn't get him. He was like, oh God, he was not only unresponsive, he was just moaning. That's right. So I called the ambulance. They got his sugar up a little bit, and they did his vitals, and they said his vitals are all good. So I was very comfortable with him staying home, so he didn't have to go to the ER for that one. So I talked to her, and when we were done, I was just so happy that at least we should, at some point, within another year, find out a decision. I'm hoping so much. Now, Joe has diabetes. He has several times DKA, He's bipolar, on medication for that. He has brain atrophy, where his brain is literally shrinking or has shrunk significantly. We need another scan, that was his baseline, to see if the brain may have shrunk back in the day when he was a drunk and heroin addict. It can also be the diabetes causing it. So that was his baseline, but shrunken. The good news was it shrank equally everywhere. So that's supposedly good. It's like our brains do that as we get older, but she said he has the brain of like a 90-year-old man. If it shrinks in just a certain area, that can be dementia, Alzheimer's, that kind of thing. So that affects his memory big time. And she, the neurologist, thinks that it's the atrophy that's causing him to lose his balance more than the neuropathy, which is another thing he has. So he's got a lot of things under his belt. Plus he's, did I say bipolar? Yes, I did say that. So I went over all these things with the new person. She had most of the records, but now she wanted the new records for what he's going through right now. And I said, please go back at least 6 months because he's made a lot of visits. So we hung up, and I was so anxious to call Joe just to give him a little bit of good news that he at least has a caseworker to think he didn't for like several months. Oh my God, that's so sad. I couldn't get him, so I knew he was sleeping. She calls me back and says she just got off the phone with the hospital and that his authorization to share information with them has expired. And I said, is this something you can do over the phone? And she said, yes. And I said, I will make sure he calls you right back. If I don't get him, I'll call his nurse and say that she has to wake him up. So I was able to get him, gave him the information. He was so happy that somebody from disability called that he cried. It made me cry because it worries him. He doesn't take money from me. He'll borrow money from me and he pays me back when he ever gets like a little job here and there. And he works for me, but that's gas money that he's basically making off me because I can only sell so much, so there's only so much that I can have him sort for fabric. I need to find something else that he could help me with or do. I need some new ideas in my head that don't just involve fabric. And I think once we get over the hump of disability, if he can get his disability, I don't care how small the check is, it will be something. And then he would have, hopefully, he could get Medicaid. And anyway, I'm going too far in advance. He called her and he filled her in, and he even remembered a few things, a few different doctors and stuff that I forgot to mention. But he said when he talked about when he went to the treatment center, I didn't mention that to her, but we had before. And she said, yes, I have all of that. And then he mentioned a couple of other things. So she's got a lot of good info. I would find it very hard to believe that, I don't even want to jinx it. There's people who have had a lot of issues and still not get disability. We know that happens all the time. Then there are other people who apply and they get it right away. You know, I just don't understand all that stuff, but I'm just going to hope so much and send positive vibes out there that he can get it and that he can get Medicaid because if he declines to the point where he needs around-the-clock care, I will not be able to do that. I took care of my father, my brother, and my mother for 20 years. I was taking care of her while I was taking care of my father and my brother, and I'm just getting to the point where it would be too much for me. Mentally, I can't go through that again. So, I'm just planning. I'm not saying this is happening now, but I'm just trying to tell myself I have to plan for what happens. I don't know with Medicaid, if we could at least get people to come in to help him for things like taking a shower because he's not steady on his feet. And sometimes better than others. There's times he's great at, we walk out the door, we walk to the car, we walk back in, but there's other times that he's like this, and I'm like so petrified that he's going to just fall, and he tends to go back. Like if he lifts his head, he completely loses his balance. And I always imagine him stepping off the curb, taking a couple steps and falling and hitting his head with the sharp edge of the curb. See, this is where my mind goes. I'm always like, okay, Joe, there's going to be a curb. I need to hang, and he doesn't want me to hang on to him. He says, no, that makes me feel like I'm falling. And it's like, oh my God. So I always plan ahead. If I'm planning ahead 2 steps and there's a curb and I'm already worried that he's going to crack his skull open, you can bet that I'm worrying and thinking about, the future after that. So, but anyway, I just wanted to fill you in on all that stuff. And I am learning so much about mood changes and mood swings and things, because he was irritable. He was irritating the shit out of me for those couple days. And I was like thinking, the bipolar meds are not working, and why not? And I was worried about that. And with the stress of, I'm still stressed out about the fucking moving company. I have other things too that stress me out. I'm always worried about Derek and Skylar for whatever reason. I'm always thinking, is this going to go good for them? She's getting her license, and it's like, so I worry about and stress out about that. I worry all the time about my business, and I have been worrying about my business for 30-something years. Have I been in business? 30-something years I've been in business, and I worry about it all the time. I worry if it can't get as big as I want. But every time it gets to where I want more. And it's not because I want the money, it's because I want the security. I like to feel the security, and then no matter how much money I save, to me it's not enough. Because if something happens, you can go through a lot of money really, really quick. I'm not going to have Derek take care of me or Skylar take care of me, so I'm always very concerned about having a retirement fund that will last a little while. But so I worry all the time. It's one thing that carnivore did not do for me. Bring down my anxiety. So many people found peace with carnivore for their anxiety and stuff. And you can tell I'm a nervous wreck all the time. I always am. And I hate fucking taking deep breaths. Breathe, relax, fuck that shit. Do you know what it's like for somebody with anxiety to go, see, I hated that. I remember telling a therapist that I had back in Maine, 25 years ago. I liked her so much. She made me breathe in, and she counted, breathe out. And she goes, how did that feel? I said, it fucking sucked. And she laughed so hard. Throwing myself into work is what I like to do very much. And, and then I was stressed yesterday, and it was, I went in the morning alone because Joe didn't feel well, but I wasn't expecting him to be in the ICU later that day. I went to an AA meeting alone, one that I really like, and the topic was your relationship with God, and there was probably like 10 other people plus, and of course I knew everyone in that room was going to have a different opinion than me, and my opinion is that the message I don't like is, even though AA says they don't follow any religion or anything like that, it's absolutely 100% based, Christian-based. The word God is in the things that we read every day. And I had an issue with that and didn't think I'd want to still go, but I enjoy the stories so much, listening to other people's experiences. It helps me in other ways so much. It helps me enjoy sobriety. I was sober for a very long time, 25 years now, and for 23 of those years I was sober, but I wasn't enjoying it because I thought I can't have a life without drinking, so I'll just stay home and rot, right? Take care of my mother, have a business, and that's, you know, how it's going to be for me. But then I moved here, and I had a life, and I went wild. For 2 years, I was wild. I had so much fun. But now I'm settling down again because I did want to meet someone, and boy, Joe was a handful, you know. And now I understand his bipolar and also his diabetes. Oh yeah, so he was a grump and irritating me, and I went to the meeting alone, and I came home. Oh yeah, and I did tell the group. I told the group how I felt, and I told them during my time to speak that I'm not looking for a belief, a higher power. I'm good with where I am, and please don't try to fix me. And go in a circle talking, and there was only a couple who talked before me, and then after me they all talked, and then it started to come back around because now the people who already spoke, they had a lot to tell me, and a lot of it was just stick with it. You will find God and the understanding, and you know, you're not supposed to over talk. And a couple times I was just like, that's not what I'm here for. You know, I did remind them. It says that the only requirement to be an AA is a desire to not drink. I have that desire, and I'm going to stick with it. I thought I'm not going back, but I am. Hopefully Joe will be able to go with me Friday. We're going to go. I would be going alone on Friday. I don't think I want to go alone. I will wait until I go with Joe. Oh my God, I never told you guys. The woman, I'll link to this other video in the description below, that made me get up and have a hissy fit because she said I had to be a good servant if I wanted to go there because I didn't want to do the chips, hand out the coin, the chips, whatever, like poker chips, not Pringles, that night. And first I had refused to read. First night I went there alone, and then I refused to sign the calendar for chairing a meeting, and then that night I didn't want to do the chips, and I had only been going for a short amount of time, and I explained to her that I'm very nervous, and she got upset with me. I know a lot of you watched that, and I'll put the link to the video if you want to watch it. And I ended up saying some big words in a very loud voice, and I left there in tears, or at least cried outside, and I was very upset, and then I didn't go back. And I was so heartbroken. I was so heartbroken that I lost the group that I liked. And the reason I was going to groups, I know everybody thought I was hoping to run into Joe. This is when Joe and I were apart last summer for like 3 months. And very little communication during that time. Sometimes the only communication I'd get was his mail was still coming here, and his insurance, Cigna, I would get something and I'd see that he was in the hospital like a week or two before. So I said, well, at least he was alive then. I don't know if he's alive now. And so I left that meeting and I didn't go back. And oh yeah, so the reason I was going to meetings is because it made me feel close to Joe, because he's the one that introduced me to all that. It wasn't that I thought I'd find him. I knew he was at least an hour and a half away. So I knew he would not run into me. I would not run into him at any meetings around here. And no, I absolutely wasn't out to try to meet him, see him, find him. I wasn't looking for him. I just felt good there because I don't know, I felt close to him while I was there. But when we did get back together, we went to that meeting and I felt protected. I knew she wasn't going to say anything. She knows Joe for many, many years, and I knew she wasn't going to say anything with me sitting with Joe next to me. Now, she knew that Joe and I were together because we had gone a few times together at that group, and I kind of liked it, and I thought, well, they didn't see me too often, so I'll just feel more comfortable going there alone. There's other groups that if Joe and I were to split up again, I wouldn't want to go because everybody would be like, where's Joe? What happened? What are you guys doing? How come you're not together? But I knew that group wasn't going to, put us as a tight couple. Not enough people saw us together. But I knew she knew that we were a couple and that we had split. So when she saw us back together, she knew now, something has changed. And of course she didn't say a thing to me, not at all. And it was a potluck, that's right. And we passed each other in the little potluck line, and I just was acting as cool as can be. I knew I had Joe there, I didn't have to worry. I knew from the very beginning that she was in the wrong, I was not. And I knew she would not apologize, and I don't care about that. The apology means nothing to me. There's no need for that, I don't think. To me, instead of an apology, from this point forward, if things can go smooth, I'm good with that. And we went to another meeting, and that was okay. And then we went to another potluck, and she sat at the table that Joe and I were sitting at, like almost like across from Joe, so kitty corner to me. And we talked a little bit, and I thought, this is cool. Now see, that to me is the best apology. We don't have to bring up the bullshit. So that was nice. And then we went to a potluck at a different group, and she was there, and she sat with us. Not only sat with us, it was just me and Joe at a big round table. We get there early because we like us to be close to the front. And we always have people, say, could we sit with you? Or we'll invite people, hey, come and sit with us. And she and one other woman came up to the table. There was empty tables everywhere. It was early. And she said, do you mind if we sit with you? And I said, no, you can sit with us. And she sat right next to me. Isn't that odd? Isn't that odd? And I was crocheting, and we chatted a little bit. I chatted a lot with her friend. Her friend was really fun and funny. And we listened to speakers together and stuff. So, that day I was so hurt and broken, but now I go to that meeting, and we see each other out and sit at the same table sometimes. Okay, I guess I've talked enough, right? I'm going to go see Joe. I told him I'm going to record. I'm trying to wait to see if there's any chance that they will send him home today. He thinks not, because now he just found out. That's right, his sugar is up again. So that means that it's going to just fluctuate. It's going to fluctuate. I would like them to keep him tonight and see if they can just keep it down. I'd like it to be at a good level for him. 200 is actually a good level for him. I don't know if it varies, but with him, anything like between 160 to 240 is his doctor is comfortable with that. But I'd like to see it be at a good point for him for like 24 hours. See, if they would have sent him home earlier and it's already going back up, I'd be fucking worried about that, And it's when I'm there, they give me all kinds of instructions. And I'm thinking to myself, what do you do if the person has no one? I don't like that being my responsibility. So now let's get back to Medicaid. I don't know if Medicaid here is more like it is in Maine, but they will, like if somebody goes home with an injury or, needs, like my mother when she would have her leg cellulitis, I can't remember, but it's not a good thing. It's like infections. And when she would get out of rehab, they would come and make sure she does certain exercises every day, check her, things like that. I would like something like that. Like if Joe is in DKA and then he comes home, I would like somebody to come and check on him or at least be in contact with me. Test him right now and let me know, and not put it all on me to have to remember and do these things. I don't know. We'll get through it all. We will. We'll get through it all. So one thing that I've had on my mind for a long time, because now I'm already back to thinking of what new stuff can I do to increase my sales, but this isn't something Joe could help me with, has been to make coloring books with my doodles. But, of course I wouldn't be coloring in my own doodles, so it would just be the black outlines of doodles. And I had looked into it at one point to self-publish on Amazon. And I just, at the time, I was so busy with so many things, so I never looked too much into it. And now my friend Christy, who was on Extreme Couponing, And that's how I started learning about couponing. And then she lived in Portland, Maine, and I hooked up with her and said I would like to do the coupons on a blog and stuff. And she invited me to come see her and another woman who was interested, and that's how I learned how to get the affiliates for the coupon thing and stuff. So we became friends in that way. And I just saw yesterday that she is selling coloring books that she made, and it's the coolest idea. It's like, hang on. I wanted to go and pick up the link because I'm going to put the link in the description of this video so you can go check out the coloring books. Christy's from Maine, and the one she was showing on her Facebook page, Road Trip to Maine, a fun and educational kids, I'm going to open this up, coloring book with state symbols, landmarks, and a travel journal. It's really cool. So I'm going to go send you to them, and let's see. It's paperback. You're going to get the actual coloring book, not just something that you would do online. And her publishing is called Are We There Yet Publishing. And the main one has a can of Moxie. I miss Moxie so much. Derek does too. A whoopie pie. I talk about whoopie pies here in the South. They have no clue what that is. One of the boots, I can't even think of the name of boots that they are. A lobster. I know a lobster. I grew up on a lobster boat. And pine tree. So I'm just thrilled for her. And I was just thinking of her the other day, thinking, I wonder what she's got, because she's an entrepreneur for sure. And I would love to bring her some sales because she helped me so much to understand the coupon affiliates so that I would get paid if people printed the coupons on my site. We never hung up. He must have fallen asleep and I never hung up. Joe? Joe? We never hung up. No, we didn't. I just heard you coughing while I'm recording. I'm actually recording right now. All right, I'm going to be done in just a little bit and I'll call you. Okay, bye. Okay, bye-bye. I never know how to do anything. He's still talking to me. And I have 4 minutes on my card. If you buy any of these, it's not just Maine. She's got some other states, but she doesn't have like all the states. I don't know. I just found out about this, so I just want to send you guys. She helped me a great deal. I did couponing for 5 years where I, had people printing the coupons. It was a very nice gig for me, and I thank her still to this day for that. I was very glad that she was willing to take me under her wing and show me the ropes, and it was a good 5 years, and then it just fell apart for everybody. Nobody's doing the, making money by having people print coupons. Okay, so her name is Christy Vachon, and I'm sending you to her link on Amazon. She's got some other states. They're cool books. If you order one, please try to find a way to tell her Darlene sent you, because I would love to be able to give back to her a little bit in some way. Now I have to go. So, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll be back with more soon. Bye.